we are on the specialization. So in this specialization, you can see the employees divided into the technician, engineer, and accountant. Now you can see the role of the technician, engineer, and accountant are different from each other. And the technician can't do credit and debit functioning, and engineer can't do the service, which is related to technician. So engine just look after only the projects only. Technician, all these people or these three different posts belong to the employee category. Okay, so definitely if you're looking at this entity and by putting the service and project in credit, at the time we are putting the in technician detail. So at the time the engineer accountant part or any project or credit debit attribute will be empty, that could be like the null, so we will not put anything because we are putting the detail of the technician and he or she can't do credit on debit. So at the time we need to put null or we can't leave such attribute. So it's a better idea to you can divide your this employee entity into the different category or sub entity, and those are recognized by the technician, engineer, and accountant. Yesterday I told you the same example that the student can be categorized by the two different level. One is a ex student or regular student. Maybe the student just have the back due to some some valid reason, and we know. Then at the time, student will be categorized by the ex-student if he or she is facing the previous semester exam. Okay, so at the time his level or his identity will be recognized as a ex-student. So right now we can say student belong to the X, but in the current semester he is regular, so he is also categorized as a regular student. So as you know, in our university we are looking for the same thing. Student got a back due to some problem, so definitely he or she will take another exam and that is counted into the X student. So we can categorize such entity, same thing, no problem. So salary and name, that is a common attribute which is consisted by the technician, engineer, and accountant. So engineer, accountant, and technician will get the salary, and he also or she also having some identity by the name. Okay, so no problem, we can do. So this is known as a specialization. So what we are doing, employee is a, so you need to take care of the this joint is a notation. So technician, I can read this statement like the a technician is a an employee, an accountant is an employee, okay, an engineering is a employee. So English statement I can read out in normal way, but in the ER model how I can represent, so here I have the disjoint notation. So this is known as is a disjoint notation. Okay. Now tell me, is it clear to all about the explanation or any doubt here? Then you can ask me, please. Let it be know. Is it clear to all the concept about the explanation? You can read the statement technician is employee, but categorization will be from the top to down. So this is the point you need to keep in mind. Okay. Now in the explanation. Now is it clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm remembering the very simple example in the classroom board. Okay. In a classroom board. In classroom board, so this classroom board is a entity, and this can be categorized into two different board. One is a whiteboard on which we can use a marker, or suppose I am much familiar with using the chalk, so I can use the blackboard or green board. Okay, so this is can be categorized. So this is the thing, this is the necessity or importance on which you are looking for such concept. So this is spell. Tell me, is it clear to all right now? Spellation
Yes,
idea
sir.
into okay,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
good, good. Now I'm taking the real example of the generalization. Now come to the point generalization. Generalization, we can say it is the inverse of the or reverse concept of the spellation. In generalization, we have to go through the bottom up approach. So before the generalization functioning, you can see there is an entity that is a student and teacher. Okay, this is a student or teacher entity we have. This is a student entity, and that is also known as the teacher entity. Student also having own name, own address, and own grade. No problem. and faculty or teacher also having the own name and own address and salary. So now you can see the what are the parameter common attribute which is consisted by the these two different entities. Those are name and address. You can see over here. Student will not get the salary and teacher will not get the grade. So we can differentiate these two entities by the different attributes. Now look common attribute and look the different attributes. Now this example is clear to all. We have the two entities, student and teacher. Okay. So how to transform this ER model or these two different entities ER model into the generalization way. So how we can do? So here we have the idea and I have the solution over here. Then you can understand. Now you can understand ER ER diagram or ER model after generalization. So what I'm doing, I'm creating simple entity that is a person. So what are the common attribute that those are belong to the both entities? Those are the name and address. So I have taken over here without any problem. And now you can see I'm using a disjoint is a disjoint symbol. So from this disjoint symbol, we can say student is a person and teacher is a person. So I'm categorizing these two entities into a different way. So student is divided into the sorry this student is just having the common attribute. Those are the name and address, and teacher also having the same thing. So we can understand teacher is a person, of course, and it has a name and address. Same thing we can read this statement, student is a person and it is also having the own address and name, but we have the different attribute. Those are the grade and salary. So we can compensate those attribute respectively entities. Those are the teachers and students. So after the generalization, we can say we are functionizing each and everything to the bottom up approach. So this is the student and teacher. So this is the point. We
Sir,
what
means generalization में we club the same entries. Means
yes.
teacher also have name and address and student also have name and address. So the same entries which are same we club them. So is this the case every time?
Yes, every time it will be the case. Every time in generalization we generalize the entity. Okay, so how to generalize? This is the point. We can say we need to see the what are the common activities which are having by the number of the entities, and so we will see all or we will club all those entities into a different entities, and that we have, that are putting here person, or at the time the circumstances at the time of the situation we will accommodate such entity name. Now
But sir, in
yeah,
previous specialization example, we
yes.
also read from bottom to up.
Okay, so
Like a engineer is a employee. Yeah, and here we also read like
no,
that
no,
a
no, no,
student
no,
is
no,
a
no,
person.
no, no, no. You can see over here. In this case, what we are doing, we are reading only. We are reading into the English statement. Technician is an employee, but employee belong to. So if we have the entity that is employee, so employee we are putting the post. Like I'm just can say we are designation of post. If I'm putting the post or designation entity over here, attribute over here, so employee entity will have the name, salary, and post. So in the post, you need to define the technician and its function, that is service. You are putting the post engineer, then you have to define the its function, that is a project. But along with the other things, that is the credit, debit, and project and service, these attributes will be are associated like over here. If you're putting the content, then other two attribute like project and service value will be null, or can't we can't put anything because which is not related to the this part. We can read the statement only. We can read only. Okay, we can read the this statement like the a technician will be an employee. So what we're doing, we are categorizing this employee entity into the different thing, and those are based on its post only. But in the generalization, not what we are doing in the generalization, we need to see what are the common attributes which are having by the number of the entities or same entries, same things we have. So teacher and student both are the person and both are the human being undoubtedly. So we will make a common name based entity, that is a person. So this person entity will have the name and address, and that we are picking over here. Okay, so we can like this one, this part. Now I'm taking the same example like the
Sir,
blackboard. Yeah, just please tell me.
sir, so you are telling that both student teacher are person. So in the specialization case, if we take replace employee by person,
Yes.
so in the specialization, sir, previous.
No, in the employee what happened, we
सर मैं
have
बोल
the
रहा हूँ कि एम्प्लॉय को पर्सन से चेंज कर दिया तो वो भी जनरलाइजेशन हो जाएगा फिर तो।
नहीं, अगर एम्प्लॉय को पर्सन से चेंज करोगे तो आप एक्चुअल जो एंटिटी है उसको क्या कम कर रहे हो, चेंज कर रहे हो। बट इन द केस ऑफ द एम्प्लॉय द एंटिटी नेम विल बी एज इट इज, वी आर जस्ट कैटेगराइज, वी आर सब डिवाइडिंग, वी आर नॉट चेंजिंग एनीथिंग ओवर हियर। Like I'm saying now, just we have the student. Okay, in the student we are not changing anything into the student entity, but we are we have the sub entity to identify or distinguish the record that that is we have the or a regular student. So but we are not changing anything into the student. Yes, we can say suppose we are changing this student by the different things. So why it is required, why it is required? Because student it is belong to the, by default it belong to the regular. But if we need to identify the x student and regular student, then we can, we have the two sub entities, those are the x student and regular student in the specialization. But in the case of the generalization, we need to see what are the common attribute which are having by the student. So the student can be recognized by the this one, that is a person. Okay, and here we can define by the any person or a human being. So now you can see this is a regular student, here we have the x student. So we need to see what are the common attribute which are having by the regular student or x student. So we will pick those point over here into the person, or you can pick, or you can change like the student, so no problem. It is not necessary, but you are changing, there's no issue. But in this case, if you are putting the student, then student, I'm putting the student instead of the person. So here we have the student entity, and we have the another student entity. So we can't have the two name, two same entity name in a ER diagram. So that's why we are changing this entity name, and that is a common, which consisted by the common attributes. We have the person only. Now on the circumstances, we need to update the thing. Now see, student and teacher. Okay, instead of the person, I'm putting over here the teacher, I can do no problem. But what happened at the time, here we have the also important attribute, important entity, that is teacher. So here any diagram, how you can take two entity name in form the same, like the same name, it is not possible. So that's why we need to see both belong to the person. Okay, so we need to put the common entity name, that is a person. So this is a generalization. In a okay, in a shopkeeper, suppose we have the customer. So customer can be identified by the male and female category, so we can do no problem. So on the different attribute we can differentiate such things. Okay, male customer will be in the queue number or counter number 4, and female customer will be in the counter number 2. So we can distinguish in such cases. So customer can be divided into the two different case, that is a male and female, that is a specialization. But we have the any we have the same example, and we need to identify the from customers, how many customers are belong have the different or membership or not. So the membership is just having by the customer, so we can generalize such case. So depend on the circumstances, or depend on the situation, we can follow generalization and specialization. So we need to see what are the possibilities we can do, and what are the important things we have the is a distant notation by which we can do. So this is the point. Everywhere you need to look the same thing. Yes, please.
सर सो मेजर डिफरेंस क्या हुआ जनरलाइजेशन और स्पेशलाइजेशन में?
मेजर डिफरेंस ये होगा कि हमको ये देखना है कि जब आप किसी चीज को सब डिवाइड करते हो एंड सब एंटिटी में, तो वो स्पेलाइजेशन है। ओके, और जब हमारे पास नंबर ऑफ एंटिटीज ज्यादा दी गई हैं, उसको आप क्लब करके कॉमन चीजों को आइडेंटिफाई करके एक न्यू
ओके
एंटिटी बना,
ओके सर, हाँ
एक
समझ गया।
न्यू एंटिटी बनाते हो, तो उसको जनरलाइज कर रहे हो। जनरलाइजेशन का शब्द ही
ओके
यही, सब जनरलाइजेशन जो वर्ड, उसका मतलब ही यही है कि वी आर जनरलाइजिंग द new things or new we are forming the new entity from the common attributes and nothing else specially. वो चीज हमने यहाँ करी हुई है और ये चीज हमने कल भी की हुई थी.
Got it, sir.
Yes. Now any doubt here? Just please tell me any doubt you are having, then you can ask me.
सर आप एक बार एग्रीगेशन समझा सकते हैं क्या?
Aggregation में आऊंगा, but let me know the specialization or generalization is clear to all or not.
Yes sir, it's clear.
It's clear. So we need to
Yes,
see
sir.
where we can apply the specialization generalization. So we need to look the situation. Everywhere we can't apply. Okay, so everywhere we can apply, but where we are applying, and so which is a possibility. Okay, top to down or bottom to up. Same thing we can go through the programming view, truly speaking, where we are talking about the real world entities thing. So we can apply the object oriented programming, but we have the non real world entity programming. So we can use only the non-object oriented programming. So we can go through only the procedure programming. So at a time we need to see where we can apply the concept, so where the application is applicable. So this is my point. And now let me clear to all about the aggregation. So aggregations is saying to us, you are aggregating here, you are integrating or composing the two different will be recognized by the one common thing. So we have an example I will tell you over here. Now theoretically I'm just giving here to entire details over here, so you can read out all those things. But keep in mind, aggregation is completely inspired by the inheritance concept, as I told you, and it is also known as the has a or is a part of. Okay, part of is a part of relations. It is also known as the it is a part of the relationship. So this is the theoretical I'm giving over here. Same example describe over here. So image we have over here. Now from this image you can see we have the two entities, that is employee and another employee, and another entities we have the project. So I'm not talking about its attribute right now. We need to see how to functionize the aggregate and how to incorporate the aggregation into our ER model. So we have an employee entity and we have an employee entity and we have a project entity and we have also a manager entity. Okay, manager manage the employee work. Okay, employee work on the project. Okay, what the project will be managed, which is working by the employee. So who will manage? A manager will manage. Okay, so manager is what? Manager is an entity itself and project it is also an entity. But now question you should have the valid question, that is, sir, what are the various attribute could be of the project? So it could be the project number or project ID, project title. Okay, so project title and project completion date. So we can say some attributes. So these are the simple example I'm taking for the project attribute. An employee can be associated by the employee ID, employee name, age, date of birth, and so on, so entire detail about the employee, no problem. And same thing we can also have the manager. Okay, so manager also have the manager ID, manager name, manager date of birth, and so on. So okay, no problem. But how to relate this manager and the project employee? So but before jumping on that part, we need to take care of this point, that is a employee and project. So what is the relationship between the project and employee? So who will manage the project? Who will manage the project? Of course an employee. So project will be managed by the employee, or we can say in general statement, employee works on the project and there is a relationship between the project and employee. So let me know this part is clear to all. First part, which is shown by my
Yes, sir.
gray, employee work on a project. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Now we have another entity, that is a manager. So manager will manage the project and manager will also manage the employee. So here we need to understand two important term. I'm just explaining purpose only, so I'm taking some diagram arrow symbol. Manager manage the employee and check its performance. Okay, how is how she is working. Okay, now is really dedicated to the work or not. And manager also manage the project. We need to keep in mind the relationship name over here, that is a manager. Okay, so manager also manage the project under under a project. There are many employees, there could be many employees, no problem. So there is only the one manager who will take care about the project. Okay, so manager also manage the employee and project. So and in any example, if we need to see a relationship and which is to be applicable to both kind of the entities, So at the time we can aggregate those entities. Okay, we can aggregate or we can integrate or compose both entities in a simple notation. So that is also known as the aggregation. So here what we need to do, we need to explain this concept like this one. So I'm putting employer works on project into a simple box that is drawn into the gray color, and what is the things that is to be managed by the employee in project. So there will be an entity. So the employee works on a project that could be recognized by an entity, that is I'm taking. Okay, now there will be relation from the employee in project or following by the relationship that is a X. So I'm giving the name of that is a relation. So manager will manage the this X. So what happened, manager manages the this X, and what is X? X is a relationship between the employee and project, and employee just manage the relationship. So what I'm aggregating, what I'm just composing, two entities or more than two entities could be, of course, and that is the employee and project. So this is an example of the aggregation. Now you can understand in aggregation has a is a, so manager manage the X. So what happened, X is a part of the manager entity, or manager manage the X part. So manager has a X. So what has a X means what he or she is managing. So this is a point which is known as the aggregation. Here I need to know from your side, now this example is clear to all, and critically I am given entire detail over here and what is happening over here. So I'm just put it over entire detail over here. So now you can see, and I have explained over here. Yes. Now tell me any doubt over here.
No, sir.
Yes, please tell me. So what you need to do into aggregation, you need to compose, you need to integrate more than two or more than one entities in a simple box for understanding purpose only, and the result of those integrated aggregation part will be transformed into a single entity. So the point we can say, if an entity which is associate more than two entities or more than one entities, and such entities belong to the result of aggregated entities, so we can say this could be recognized by the aggregation. So this is an example of the aggregation, and we can say this is also a ER model. And of course, what are the important notation by which we can represent specialization, generalization, and aggregation? That is, we have the disjoint notation. So you have to keep in mind a word for the confusing purpose into the into anywhere or any place. Anyone can ask a simple question. Okay, what is the notation by which we can apply the specialization, generalization, and aggregation? So you can say only the term we can have the is a notation. So in aggregation we can also include is a notation if it is required. Okay, no problem. Here why only the relationship we are just interpreting and nothing else especially. Now tell me any doubt in the explanation, generalization, and aggregation. If you have, then you can ask me.
No, sir.
Now is it clear to all? This was a revised part for the previous class, so is it clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, so no doubt, so it is good.